Hello class, good morning. So there's one thing that I think we all neglect, like as people, like we neglect to remember that we do it very often, and it uses 43 of our muscles every single day of our lives, and that is our smile. Our smile uses 43 of our muscles every day in our lives. We use it when we greet other people, we use it when we're just walking in the hallways. I used it today right when I walked in and I smiled at Devon, he smiled right back at me. So I think our smile is the most important, was a really important piece to like our everyday lives, and it's something we should all learn about. So I'm gonna expand your knowledge on why we smile so often. So smiling actually benefits our mood very much. Scientists have found that smiling can help people feel better. Even a fake smile at the beginning of the day can help it burst up your mood for the entire day. I didn't realize that when I first was like searching through the subject. So when I found this morning I woke up and I made like a little fake smile to myself in the mirror, and throughout the day now I smiled a good 10 times, and it's only been a couple hours since I've been up. Recent studies has also revealed that it enhances the positivity and it suppresses the negative ones just with the facial expression. So I know that a lot throughout the day that some people like in the hallways will kind of look at you weird, so you look at them back weird. And so for the day, that's how your mood consistently stays, just from the one ugly look you give to someone else. So even if you just smile for like a little part of the day, that one smile will carry you throughout the day and it will burst up your mood. Smiling also has some health benefits. Smiling helps your brain. It also exercises your face. It helps when you're greeting people, and it allows knowledge to be processed better. So in a recent study, actually by the Huffington Post by Veronica, she found that she took pictures of a couple of females, because it is proven that females smile more often than men do. We all know that, right? So she found that she took pictures for these girls' yearbooks photos, and those girls that smiled in the yearbook and the girls that didn't smile in the yearbook, she found that the girls that smiled were carried on way better in life, and they did way better than the girls who didn't smile throughout life. So it was like a really like big thing at the high school that they found out, like when they had the reunion and they came back, all those girls that smiled, they're doing a lot better in life. So they have better jobs, they have like, they're more successful, they finished school, and the girls who didn't smile were actually falling behind and failing, and some didn't graduate. And then it also finds that smiling helps the immune system, and it functions more effectively. It improves that because of something called adenomorphis, and it's a natural painkiller as well. The brain releases it right when you smile. So as you're smiling, it releases this throughout your body and throughout your brain. So it causes the brain to stimulate itself, and it causes your smile to research a lot better, and it lets the productivity in your body go through faster. Along with this, smiling also exercises the face. So in this study, you find that smiling stimulates up to 16 pounds of sterling in cash, so that's like the similarity to it as much as you smile. This is found by the Buffington Post. And then in the nerve, it exits the cerebral cortex and emerges from your skull in the front of your ears. So you're using 43 of your muscles, and one of the main muscles is right here, the orbicularis ocule, and it's right underneath your eyes, right before the zygomatic arch. And that part, when you're smiling, is actually the reason for why cheekbones are raised up so high to your face sometimes when you smile. And yes, you do get wrinkles when you smile, but at the end of the day, when you are smiling and you're older, you'll be able to remember that your life was so good because you smiled so much with all those wrinkles. Also, another thing is, out of those 43 muscles, the ones that are controlled are the 7th cranial nerve, also known as the facial nerve. So that nerve is underneath the lip, a bit above of the actual jawline, and that is what is the like social activity that interacts the muscle to smile, and what causes you to want to smile a bit more. Along with that, you find that when you smile, you're aware of activity that actually your face keeps track of that. You are more effective at breaking the brain's natural tendency to think negatively when you do smile. Just as happy as the facial expression helps the body of stress, smiling can release tension from the cellular level as well, according to the biochemist and artist Sandra Barrett in her book Secrets of Your Cells. Barrett explains how cells can be distinguished between safety and danger, find repair, and recreate those nerves that you were first damaged when you were thinking negatively. And so I just wanted to tell you guys, at the end of the day, just remember those wrinkles you have on your face will remind you about the great life that you had when you were smiling. Thank you.
So, Michael, what did you think?
I think he did a really good job overall. He had a really good hook at the beginning, like smiling at Devon. I thought that was pretty funny. You seemed to know what you were talking about the whole time. A lot of good information. The visuals were really good, but you just kind of read the info on the slides just a little. I don't know. Everybody does that. So, and you started to read just a little bit towards the end of your speech, which is totally okay. But you had a lot of really good eye contact overall and some good presence. You were like standing up straight and everything, and like smiling a lot. And I like how you kept a good smile throughout.
All right, well, since we're starting with delivery things here, I'll agree with most of what Michael is saying there. I think you do a nice job talking to the audience and engaging us for most of the presentation. I especially like the way you integrated your own smiling with the visual when you're talking about the one thing about your face, you know, that thing, and then you make a reference to yourself and are doing that kind of thing. And so it's not just the static image that we have here of the muscles on a person's face, but it's also combining it with something that you're doing. And I thought that integrated well and helped kind of explain that concept nicely, and I appreciate that extra effort. Excuse me. The topic is, clearly identified at the beginning. You have this little suspense thing that you're doing. You don't tell us right away, and I think you could probably draw it out a little bit more and maybe get some, talk about some references. Something it can get you something in the long run. It's something that people anticipate. When they get it, it's really a pleasure and a joy, and if they don't get it, it's frustrating. That kind of thing. There's a way to maybe build it up and make it a little bit more engaging, but it was fine. The topic I thought was clear. Your purpose could be maybe a little bit more explicit. I didn't really pick up a preview, so I think you need to do that for us a little more. Lay that out for us. On the supporting material, I think Michael's got a point. You sometimes have a tendency to just read the things that are on the slides. The citations are a little confusing. Veronica from Huffington Post, that doesn't sound like much. If she's a staff writer for the Huffington Post and she conducted her own little survey as a way of checking this, that's fine. If it's just a person that they interviewed and they've done this, then you want to present it that way. As it is, it just sounds like, I don't know who this is, why I should be listening to them. I've never heard of the Buffington Post. That sounds like it's an interesting one. And how they get to that 16,000 pounds sterling, I assume that it's a British site because they're using sterling instead of talking about dollars, that kind of thing. So it feels like it's a little incomplete on the information, that we need a little bit more context from the sources that you're giving. Either you want to quote them more directly, which I think is probably the best way to do it, or you need to give us more context on each of those points. And there are 2 or 3 places where you're citing information that way, where it feels like, I get the point that what you've got there, but it needs to be clearer. It needs to be introduced more smoothly. It needs to have a little bit more body to it than just the discrete piece of information. And I felt like we were getting the discrete piece of information, sort of like the bullet point version of it. And that makes it, I think, less interesting and less understandable. It sounds like it's a topically organized speech. Like I said, a preview would have helped that a little bit more. I think there need to be stronger transitions between the points. The visuals are fine. Like I said, I like the way you integrated things early on. I thought you were usually very personable when you were speaking to us. That works. You had no trouble. I thought it was so odd. You had no trouble pronouncing the names of the muscles and the endorphins. You struggled with that one. So that was just, to me, that it would have been the exact opposite. Endorphins, I've heard that phrase 1,000 times, and so I know how to say that. But the muscles, you said like it was no problem whatsoever, and I'd have been going, going slowly through each syllable in the word to be able to say it. So it's just a difference in the way people do things. Practice is the way to fix those issues. All right, thank you.